Hello, hello. How are you guys? What a lovely evening. What a lovely Saturday. How are you all doing today? Who's joining us first? Yay. Who is it? I need to see. Rochelle White. Yay. Hello, Rochelle. How are you? Good evening. Thank you for joining us and always being constant first person. Thank you. Me, Julie, good evening. How are you? Uriyomi, Bolaluro, good evening. Thank you guys. As you're coming in, please share this link. Share this video so that other people can see. Thank you. Good evening, Gloria. How are you? It's so lovely to see you guys joining us again. I feel like I've been with you all day today. Gosh, how are you? Anyway, thank you for joining us again this evening. Ido, good evening. Omonike, good evening. How are you? I hope you're okay. I trust that you're all okay because you're joining us, and I know that you're going to have a fantastic time this evening. I know you had a great time yesterday with Pastor Nikki and Dr. Sunday, and today I am back. Yay! How are you guys? Apostle Yomi, good evening. Good evening, Professor Daniel. Good evening, Elizabeth Ali. Queen Elizabeth, how are you? This is my Queen Wave. Adebayo, good evening. Evan, thank you for joining us again. It's nice to have you on board in all the sessions. That's brilliant. Well done. Mofelola, good evening. Anojo, Pastor Anu, good evening. Queen Anastasia, how are you? Good evening. Omonike, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I can see that you're sharing. Please, everybody else, let's start sharing as soon as possible. The sooner we start sharing, the better, because that means more people will join us. Hello, Sister Yetunde. How are you? Michelle, good evening. Or is it Michael? Sorry, Michael, good evening. Thank you so much, guys. Please, share. And if you're sharing, don't just share on your page. Also invite your friends. Ask them to join us. Adeolu, good evening. Edwin, thank you, Pastor Edwin. Thank you so much. And thank you for being concerned today and checking up on Dr. Sunday. Egwami, good evening. Jane, it's lovely to have you on board. Good evening. Thank you, guys. Please share. Dr. Sunday is here. And if you're doubting, let me just turn to him so you can see that he's here. Yippee!
Bless you.
Yeah. Guys, have you seen him? Are you happy now? I know you've missed him because I've got messages to confirm that. People asking me, where's Dr. Sunday? Where's Dr. Sunday? Well, he's here now. Good evening, Chigo. Oriyomi, good evening again. I missed some people. Ogwani, good evening. That's peace. Good evening. Abo, good evening. Good evening. Thank you, guys. Keep sharing so that I can see, and it would say so number of people have shared. But I've only seen a smaller number than the numbers that are actually watching that sharing. So, Pastor Ernest, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So, without further ado, what's the first thing I should do? The announcement, guys, the contest. You know about the contest already. You know where to go to find out more information. There is detailed information on Dr. Sunday's page. It's pinned up on top of the page, so you'll be able to access it very easily. So there's no problem with doing that. So go ahead, go to Dr. Sunday's page where you are now. You would see the contest. If you don't want to do that now, you can do that later. You can even copy the information onto your desktop so that you'll be able to see it and know what the criteria are and also the prizes. The prizes are amazing. I told you this afternoon, one of the prizes, I experienced it myself and it changed my life. Here I am, here in Ukraine, just talking to him on Skype for a little bit, and here I am now. So go ahead, enter the competition, or shall I say contest, as I like to say. So guys, don't forget, please share. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, let me just remind you, you can access Dr. Sunday Adelaja's material on YouTube, which is Sunday Adelaja Official. So go to YouTube, there's a playlist of all his material over the last many years, not just live broadcast, but the 30 series on live broadcast as well that you can watch over and over again. And also you can go to his blog, which is sundayadelajablog.com. There are a host of materials on that. And if you want information about Nigerian Transformation Project, if you don't know anything, put a slash at the end of .com and add Nigeria. So that's the little information I'm going to give you for now. So guys, welcome and thanks for sharing. I can see a number of people have shared. So let's start today. Okay. Right, there's a question, and this is related to the Moses and the Joshua generation, which we talked about a few days ago. And the question is, how can those that are stuck with Moses move over to Joshua? That's the question. So guys, if you don't know how this question is relating, you need to watch the last few days question time. So please check it out. That was the question time a couple of days ago. Check that out, and then this will make sense.
How would they check it out? Does it have a title?
Yes.
Of Moses?
It doesn't have a title of Moses.
So how would they search if it doesn't have
okay,
Moses? How
check
would they search for it?
For the date. Use the date, please, for now.
Give them the date then.
Yes. So the
So
date.
you have to have the title. That's just the only answer. You're talking about Moses and Joshua. Yes. So make sure you title them immediately you finish. Maybe you may title them now so that they could look for it later.
Okay.
You see, that's why you must do what you need to do immediately and without leaving for tomorrow what you could do today. Because for the whole week, I've been telling you people, change the titles from numbers to titles. You've been saying, yeah, you and Kate, yeah, but you've been too busy. But that could be done parallel. As we are going through this, you could be naming all the other ones.
Okay. You had Pastor Dr. Sunday, right? I am supposed to have done that. You know me, guys. I'm learning. I am a slow learner, so I'm going to do it. But I do apologize. So let's continue. Pastor said the day is going. Let's continue. So you'll get the right information. I'll put it on the schedule here on the comment section to tell you which title. So guys, so the question is again, sir, is how can those who are stuck with Moses move over to Joshua?
First of all, I want to appreciate you, Mayowa and Kate, for standing in for me today, and Olena, because today was a long day for me. I was in court from morning even to today is Saturday, but I go to court several times a week, and I have to go and sit there the whole day. So today was such a day, and that's why, as a matter of fact, when we start the broadcast again, the daily broadcast again in June, as I promised, that is in case we'll do 100,000. If we are going to have 100,000 before my birthday, then I promise that I will begin to come out daily again like we were doing before from June. But the problem with that is, I think it's going to be from June 5th or something. And first, it's going to be Wednesday, so it's not going to be on first. It has to be on the Monday. So that's going to probably be 5th or so, or something like that. So because of this court that I'm going, like you all know what happened, the case was thrown out of court because the judges said it's a false accusation against me. But then the government went and put pressure on the appeal court, and they returned it to court. So I'm going to be going to court every day almost here in this country. That's the way it is. So because of that, and it starts in the morning, I have to leave early in the morning, it's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning. So because of that, I will probably not be doing the daily broadcast like I was doing it last year, which was twice a day, because I'll be in court every morning basically now. the way it will probably work out is that I will just be doing daily broadcasts in the evening. Maybe that's even good for people because it might, give them more settlement, more opportunity to, instead of getting two teachings a day, they could be getting one teaching. But the only thing I could do is that with the evening teaching, I could be doing 2 hours instead of 1 hour. Just like we do on Saturday. So I'll be able to cover longer, more ground, even though I will be coming out just in the evening, like 9 o'clock, like we were doing it before. I used to come out 9:30 in the morning and 9 o'clock in the evening, our time. So it's still going to be the same thing, but only in the evening. And what day would that be on Monday? On the first Monday in June. So that would probably be the day. What's the first Monday in June? Had anybody check that? What date?
That,
Is it 5th?
yes.
So it's 5th. So it's probably the 5th that we will start. That is if we have 100,000. So I want to commend you people for standing in for me, for standing in the gap when I was in court. And then for the second program, for standing in. My premier minister and disciple, Pastor Natasha, was 70 today. So today is her 70th birthday. So I was there with her in the evening. That's why I was not there for the last one, for the Olena, the Russian interview. Now I'm back, coming from I had to leave the celebration, the 78th birthday celebration. I stayed there for a short time and ran here. Well, now that I'm here, let the journey begin. So, if the question is, if people are stuck with the Moses or the Moses generation, what should they do? First of all, I will have to say that my preference and what I normally tell people is that if you know you are stuck with the Moses generation and the practices are not good for you, the practices are erroneous, and the practices could pollute you or could hamper your possibility of moving on to the promised land, that the practices of the church or denomination is probably going to make you stand and stay and perish and die in the wilderness without reaching the promised land. And what does that mean in our own case here? Not in the case of Moses and Joshua in the Old Testament, we know what it means. But what does that mean in the case of us today? What that means is that you have been delivered from Egypt as a believer. You have been delivered from sin. You have inherited salvation. But you will not be able to get into the promised land. What does that mean? Well, meaning in our case here, meaning that even though you are a born-again Christian, but you are not being taught the way and the process and the steps to take to make sure that you don't just get born again, going to church in and out for the rest of your life. They are not teaching you that you can have your own ministry, that you have not ministry like a pulpit ministry, but they are not teaching you because of the Moses generation's duty is not always to teach people on how to cultivate the ground of promise. So that's the problem with the Moses generation people. They don't lead you to inherit your own land of promise. In the meanwhile, everybody that was brought out of Egypt is meant to inherit a land of promise. But this Moses generation, they are not concerned about that. They are called to bring you out of Egypt. And now that you are out of Egypt, they want to keep you around them. They want to keep you to be, through their miracles, through their signs they're doing, and through their authority. So, but the problem is that they died in the wilderness. They don't, because they keep you around them, and they will not enter. Moses didn't enter the promised land. So all those people who came out with him, they didn't enter too. They were not able to enter. The only people that entered were the Joshua generation. And what made them? What is the difference of that generation? Is that those are the people that know that they have their own calling. They are not just called to stay in the four walls of the church. They know that they have a grace of God upon them. And then, they were made to know. But some people, they will not even know that. They will think that Moses generation people will they will make you to believe that as long as you are coming to church to give tithe and offering, or you are serving in that church, that you are doing well. And that's why people perish in the wilderness. Perish in the wilderness means you die while you did not go. You did not manage to go into your own promised land. So you died a Christian, but you did not even enter into your calling, talk less of fulfilling it. But the Joshua generation leaders are the people who are teaching you that you have your own calling. Don't just hang out around me. Don't just be around me and be helping me. Don't just be bringing tithe here and sitting here for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, 25 years until you die. People are just dying every day. Even as pastors, they are coming and dying. And it's natural to die. All of us are going to die. But in what state would death meet you? Would death meet you in your own promised land, where you are totally taking over your promised land and you are cultivating it, and you are, bringing the altar of God there and glorifying God there and causing the earth to glorify God? Or you are just, being faithful in being a church member who is just trying to serve another man's vision? So what I'm saying is that with the Moses generation, the problem is that the problem is that they don't teach you that you have your own calling, and they don't help you to get there. They tell you that it's your calling to just hang around with them in the wilderness until you die there. Now, that is one aspect of that problem of the Joshua or Moses generation churches and leaders. The other problem with the Moses generation leaders is that some of them have even done worse. Some of them do worse than that. They will go to the extent of imprisoning you, enslaving you, and captivating you with laws, rules, and fear. They could be telling you things like, God has brought you here. They will use all kinds of manipulations and gimmicks just to make sure that you don't do anything apart from what they tell you. In fact, in those kind of churches, those Moses generation leaders, they will make you to feel bad anytime you want to do your own thing. Anytime you want to pursue what God wants you to do. In fact, they will even build all kind of doctrine around you and around the church, so much that you would think the best you can do is just to be showing up every Sunday and be obeying them. So that is the deadly thing about the Moses generation leadership. Even though they play their own role at a certain point, and thank God for them, but because of this kind of mindset, they keep people dying under them. And they keep on burying them until they themselves die. And it doesn't depend on the age. There might be people who are just 20 years old ministers or 25-year-old ministers. They too might be having the same mentality, the same Moses generation mindset. In fact, the worst of this Moses generation mindset is that some of them will come up with some incredible, unbiblical, and ungodly doctrines. One of those evil doctrines that people have come up in church is that they will tell you that you cannot have your own vision, because if you have your own vision, it is a division. They will tell you that to have your own vision is a division. Can you believe that? As if God didn't create you unique. As if God didn't create you to be different. As if God didn't create you with your own vision. Meanwhile, before you met that pastor, who either is a Moses or no Moses, before you met him, God had created you and had given you your own vision. You discover it or you don't discover it, it's not your problem. It's your own problem. But he has created you like he said in Jeremiah chapter 1, that while you are in your mother's womb, you are called. I mean, before you are in your mother's womb, you are called. While you are still there in that mother's womb, you have been anointed for a nation, or for the nations, or for one thing or the other. So now to say man, an ordinary man who is driven by fear, who belongs to the old, who is from the Moses generation is now telling you that you cannot have your own vision until he tells you you have vision. And that for you to have a vision is to have the vision. I mean, what kind of crazy doctrine is that one? Just because you want to control people and manipulate them and put them under you. It is what I call plantation. It is not a church. If you go to that kind of church where they tell you cannot have your own vision, and that to have a vision is to bring the vision, you don't need a curse. You are already under a curse. Nobody needs to curse you. Because that man and that leadership, that church is cursing you. It's your own curse right there. They are just truncating your destiny. They are putting you in prison yard in the spirit. They are locking you up. You are already locked up, self. So if you go to that kind of church, you just know that you are not, the Spirit of God doesn't do that. It is working. The people are working against the purpose of God that was intended before you were even born. The calling that was put in you before you were born is now being truncated by people who are being led by fear. You know that is a Moses generation kind of church. That is a dying church, a church of the past, not of the future. And they will keep you in the wilderness. Wilderness means in a church, in the four walls of the church, where you don't enter into your own independent ministry. Now, the other thing that people have done with this kind of fear and doctrine, the Moses generation kind of leadership, another thing they have done is that they have also developed another doctrine which is called loyalty and disloyalty, or loyal or disloyal, or something like that, some funny names. People do all kind of rubbish to keep people together. And what that means is that any single thing you want to do that your pastor has not sanctioned, they will say you are disloyal. It is a doctrine of hell. No matter how spiritual it sounds, no matter how divine it sounds, the people put all these things in spiritual packages. They make it look spiritual, and they make it look as if it is God himself that is talking. They will bring all kind of scriptures. But the way you should know that it's not God is because it is against the nature and the character of God himself that you are disloyal because to man. In fact, I've even heard some of those teachers say that God doesn't speak to sons. God doesn't speak to children. He doesn't speak to sons, that he only speaks to fathers. That even if you belong to those kind of churches, you will have to go to these so-called pastors to hear what God is speaking about you. So God cannot speak to you because you are just a son. Because you have a father. As long as you have a father, God cannot speak to you. He can only speak to them, and then they will now tell you what God is saying. Are you kidding me? We are all children of God. I don't even know. I mean, this kind of gullibility, this kind of doctrine of Satan is only being spread in Africa mainly. But because, Europeans will reason and think with their head and know that this is rubbish. But Africans will believe this kind of rubbish because they think there is the fear of God. But it's actually the fear of man. They are not putting their head to work. To say that, God will only speak to some fathers, human being, when you already, and they will go to, some of them will go and quote Moses and Joshua and say, okay, Joshua the son of Nun did not have the spirit of wisdom until Moses laid down on him. But you are in the New Testament, my dear. In the Old Testament, yes, only 4 categories of people had the spirit of God, and Moses had to lay hands on him to get that same spirit. But in the New Testament, all of us have the spirit of God, including your pastor or you. The same spirit of God is in you. Some people are talking about impartation, or if they don't impart you, or they don't ordain you, if they don't lay hands on you, you cannot start the ministry. Are you kidding me? These are kind of bondages that people are using. Okay, before you can, to keep you in your prison, is in their plantation. You are just working in their plantation for free or bringing tithe to them. That's what you are doing. You are a slave on the plantation, not the church they go to. You are a plantation slave. Or at most, at most, you are servicing a family business of some pastors. You are the one walking, oh, what do they say? Monkey day something, or they say bamboo day something or whatever. Monkey they walk, bamboo they shop or something. That is your case. So you are the one going to walk, going to jump from 8 to 8 or 9 or whatever. I mean from 8 to 5, and bring in 5-10% of it to the pastor. And you are saying you are being faithful to God, not because you are faithful to. You are being faithful to your foolishness and to human, human establishment, and to you are supporting a corruption scheme. You say that tithe should be paid. So that is the problem with the Moses kind of leadership. But the Joshua leadership is the one that knows that they need to go to. You must go to your land of promise, and when you get there, you must cultivate the ground yourself. Milk no go flow by itself. Honey no go flow by itself. You go cultivate them. You have to learn the skills of getting milk. You have to cultivate the skill of getting honey. You are the one that a piece of land must be divided into. And he is leading you there and teaching you the skills of how you could conquer your own land. He is letting you know that you are called. The reason why you are brought to the church is to be taught in the church on how to take dominion of God's kingdom for him. Is for you, the church, to equip you and raise you up to be a son, and then release you, not for them to be keeping you there forever until you are dead. This is not civil service that you have to be here till you pension. So this is a place where you are supposed to be equipped. The only reason why you are in church is to be equipped to be released. That's the only reason. And you don't need permission to leave. You don't need anybody's blessing. In fact, if you want anybody's blessing, just for you to go and honor the person, and because they have been with you, because you want to honor them and show good behavior. It's not that anybody's blessing is what will make you to prosper or to make the work to work, because you have already been called. The church is supposed to help you be killed and release you. And in fact, if you don't want to go, to be kicking you out. That's what it says in Ephesians. That God gave apostles, teachers, prophets, and evangelists, and pastors, to the body of Christ, so that they will equip the body. They will keep the saints, for the saints to go and do the work of the ministry. But today, the work of ministry is what people say, come and serve in the church. And that is the Moses generation model of church. The work of the ministry is not to come and sit there in church and serve. The work of the ministry is for you to be released from the church to go and serve and do the work of ministry. So that the whole creation that is crying and is whining and groaning for the manifestation of the sons of God, they will meet those sons of God. You are the sons of God that are supposed to be released to go and set free those creature of God that are mourning and groaning and waiting for the manifestation. You are the one the whole creature is waiting for to be manifested. And then they are keeping you in church to come and do the manifestation in church among yourselves. To other sons. That you are light. You go and be pointing your light to other brothers with light. You are blurring everybody's face. Eyes. Too much light just blurs the eyes. You don't see anything again. Then you begin to fight each other. That's why all the problem and the crisis in churches are taking place. So if you are there in those kind of churches where you feel that you are stuck with the Moses generation kind of something, that's why the reason why I said my own preference is that if you are seeing it, that this your church, it qualifies to what I've just described now, that they are not allowing you, even if it's Moses generation that is destructive. Because there might be Moses generation leaders, but that they are equipping you, they are not holding you back, they are not making you into a slave, they are not, making you to work on them, they are helping you to accomplish your vision or something. If that is the case, then you don't need to leave. So the point I'm trying to say is that you might not necessarily need to leave that church if you think that they are doing well, you are doing good, they are helping you, they are manifesting the nature and the character of Christ. But if they are just typical Moses generation churches that are doing what I had said earlier, making you into a slave and making you to work as a laborer in the a plantation or a family business, then you need to pick race. You just need to leave. Now there might be other situations where you might not want to leave. Even though there might be other circumstances, like maybe you have personal relationship with the leadership or with the pastor, and it's like a father to you, and you don't feel you should leave because you think it's, you have some engagement, some attachment, and you don't have the power to leave. Well, that is okay, but then be doing your own ministry parallel, or going to the calling that God has called you into. Find a way to still be fulfilling your destiny, despite the fact that you are still in those churches. So you can still be in that church, but you'll be doing what God, because God's authority has to come before the man's authority. So that's another way you could go about it, because there are some people who say they are so attached they cannot leave. So there might be different 100,000 reasons why there might be, people might not be able to leave, but make sure you don't disobey. In fact, Paul said, Agrippa, King Agrippa, I am not disobedient to the heavenly calling. You cannot be disobedient to the calling of God that comes from heaven, the one that was already put in you before you were born. Just because you want to obey a king. Did you know this will not be king, even a pastor? Paul said he cannot disobey heavenly calling. You shouldn't disobey heavenly calling just because of some spiritual, so-called spiritual leadership or father or something. That's what I want to say.
Okay. Okay, guys, you've heard it. That's a lot of answers, and it's loaded with so much. So, first of all, Dr. Sunday helped with identifying the criteria that makes Moses' generation kind of church or preaching. So he mentioned those criteria so that you would identify them. For those that have already identified them, the advice is leave, pick race, because you're disobedient to God and He's stopping you from identifying your own purpose and walking in your purpose. And it also means that you fear man more than you fear God, because being disobedient to God means you don't respect God and you're not doing things in the purpose that God have created you to be. And he also gave another thing, which is that if you're in the Moses generation setting and you feel like, okay, you need to be there, but parallel, you must be doing something in your own purpose so that you don't miss it. There's a lot, again, that was said, so please do not die.
Maybe tell them to share.
Yes, please don't die in the on the journey. Make sure that you achieve your purpose and you get to the promised land. That's the whole point of this. So in order to get into the promised land, you know what to do. So go back and watch this and listen.
I'm laughing.
And listen over and over.
Wait.
Share. Dr. Sunday, I'm going to switch it to him.
I did laugh, yeah. Because I made a mistake of opening my comments to read the comments before I write it. I did die, you.
Peter's like Usain Bolt.
Look what someone is writing. Gregory said, Nigerian pastors are having that attack. Right. There's some pastors are having that heart attack. Right. Massive heart attack across the land.